Hello, and welcome to Beering in Mind Beer Reviews. From today, we're going to be focusing on a series of beers from one brewery in Nagano Prefecture of Japan, and that brewery is Shiga Kogen. And sometimes the name is prefaced by Tamamura-Honten, which is the name of the old sake brewery that they're attached to. And this brewery is in northern Nagano in a place called Yamanouchi, and probably the closest town to it is Nakano City in Japan. And from Nagano City, the capital city, it's probably about, I would say, about an hour or so to get up there from the capital. Nagano Prefecture is a very large prefecture in the central part of Japan, and it is landlocked and full of mountains. The northern Japanese Alps and southern Japanese Alps are both in this prefecture. It's famous for winter sports. There are many world-class ski areas there. And in fact, the Winter Olympics were held there in 1994, I believe. And so it's very popular among skiers from around the world. And this year, unfortunately, the snow may not be at its best, but in general, they have a lot of good powder snow there in those ski resorts. Now, Shiga Kogen beer is attached to Tamamura-Honten, which you will see here in the middle of the label in the blue, inside the dragon, the blue label there, Tamamura-Honten, which is the sake brewery. And this was established, as they say on the cap here, in 1805. So it's been around a long time. Like many sake breweries in Japan, sales have been declining. Young people aren't drinking very much, and young people are not drinking sake as much. So sales are not as great as they were, say, 30, 40 years ago. So many breweries are branching out into other ventures, including craft beer, and Shiga Kogen is one of them. Shiga Kogen is actually the name of the place, the area where the brewery is located. And it started in 2003 and began producing beer in 2004. The director and head brewer is a man named Sato Ego, and he is part of the family that owns Tamamura-Honten. And they are rather proud of using a lot of their own ingredients in their beers. So they grow a lot of their barley and a lot of their hops. But like most Japanese breweries, they have to import, especially barley, because not a sufficient amount of it is grown in Japan. And hops do not grow terribly well in Japan, so they import a lot of those. But Shiga Kogen does use a lot of hops. The Shinshu Wase hop is one of them, and another is Shinshu Sase hop. And so they employ a lot of these here. In general, about 20% of the hops they use are grown from their own fields. Their special series called Yamabushi, which is generally a series of saisons and Brett infused beers, they use 100% of their own hops for that. Shiga Kogen is they sponsor a large festival, and it's happening this month of February every year, and it's called Snow Monkey Beer Live. And snow monkeys, it refers to the monkeys which live in that area, in the area of Shiga Kogen, and those monkeys like to hang out in hot springs in some places. So if you go to Nagano, you may see the Japanese monkeys in fields, in forests. I've seen them running across the road. And anyway, this is one of the better beer festivals in Japan. People come from all over Japan and actually from many parts of the world to serve their beer. Some of the best breweries in the world are there. They have beer and music, and it goes on for a few days. It's quite an event. I have never been, but some of my friends have and really enjoyed it. And they also have a tap room, which is called Teppa Room. And when I went, they had 8 taps going. They also serve coffee and desserts there as well. But the main draw is, of course, the beer. And they have another venue they've opened up called the Farmhouse, which is an old house, a restaurant and a bar, and it's up the road just a little bit from the main brewery. And they have a sake brewery museum and main store where you can buy sake and beer and related merchandise. But if you go there, if you're a beer lover, I would suggest going to the Teppa Room, definitely, and to go to the Farmhouse if you were hungry. So Shiga Kogen beer is not so widely distributed around Japan. They do sell online, and they show up in bars from time to time. In the area around in Nagano Prefecture, and especially northern Nagano, you can find them much more easily. And in fact, I found a wide variety in a 7-Eleven convenience store, including some of their very, very special beers, more limited special beers, and we will look at some of those in the future. Actually at a 7-Eleven, so which is very, very unusual. You'd never see that in other parts of Japan. And so we're going to look at 8 of their more or less regular beers, and they're not all regular beers, but some of them are annual releases. But we're going to look today at, first of all, this one, which is their Pale Ale. And then we're going to look at something called Africa Pale Ale. And after that, we will look at Miyama Blonde, which is a Saison. And then Baby Blonde Miyama, which is a maybe kind of a session version of the Miyama Blonde at only 5%. And then we'll look at their Indian Summer Saison, and then their IPA, and then their House IPA, and then finally the Porter, Shiga Kogen Porter. And so we're going to look at 8 of those beers, and then after that we're going to look at 6 special very limited beers from them. So about 14 different beers from Shiga Kogen will be coming in a series. But today, this one, Shiga Kogen Pale Ale. And this is a pale ale, American pale ale. It's a 5.5% alcohol beer. And they claim on their website it's the most popular beer that they have, that they produce. I assume they produce the most of it and send the most of it around to bars and stores. And we're going to give this a go. This on RateBeer has 48 ratings, an average score of 3.34 out of 5, 66 percentile for all beers, and 68 percentile for its style, which is pale ale. Not terribly high numbers, but you can expect that there's a lot of competition, a lot of really good pale ales out there in the world. Okay, well, here we go. Let's give this a go. I've never rated this one before. I've had it before, but for some reason never rated it, and today we will. Let's see. So it pours out a kind of medium dark, dirty blonde color. A little bit hazy, but more or less translucent. I think we can see through it. And about half a finger of white head. Some small lacing there. The aroma, very floral, kind of citrusy. Some stone fruit, maybe peach. Woo. And light caramel, but the hops really stand out here. Very citrusy, kind of hopping, grapefruit. lot of citrus, some pine coming out too. Mild caramel. It kind of balances a bit in mid palate, but hops really take are in the forefront here of everything. So this is very pleasant, kind of a little bit supercharged with hops. I said balanced, but definitely the hops are very strong here, I think. Kind of medium body, maybe a little bit heavy for the style, and finish is quite dry, I think. Very pleasant, very, very drinkable. So I think this is a beer you ought to try. If you see it in Japan, you should definitely pick this up. Shiga Kogen, I mean, I'll go on record as saying they're probably one of the best breweries in Japan, if not the best. A lot of breweries have been coming up over the past several years, and I don't know if they're sitting on their laurels or not, but they make really, really solid beer, every single one of them, and we will look at a variety. So again, Shiga Kogen Pale Ale. Pick up a bottle, you know, if you're in Nagano-ken, you'll find it, give it a try. Okay, that's it for today. Please keep watching future videos. We'll look at a lot more Shiga Kogen beers. Take care. Bye-bye.